So, before we start, let me just say that this is going to be a bit rough, because of course the animations, as you can guess, it plays a big role with something like vaulting and climbing. So just keep that in mind, but I think the basic system behind of how you can do it is what we're going to see in this video. So what we're going to do is, when we're actually going to take cover, if we are holding space, then we're going to vault over it, and it will work with every type of cover. Of course, as I said, it's going to look pretty rough because the animations play a big role, and you also have to hit also the collider. And over here I have a collider, that's why it jumped over it. And what we're also going to add is, if we're going into a collider that is this way, or a cover position that is not a half position, then we will actually climb. And I will show you why it doesn't look that good, and I will actually tell you how to do your animations that you won't have problems with it. Okay, and if I run to the cover without holding space, then it will do what we have programmed it before to do, and that is to take cover. So the last thing we're going to do, that does not have to do anything with vaulting, but somebody requested it, is to actually make ammo pickups. So if we're going over an ammo pickup that and our gun we have reached the maximum amount of ammo we can carry, we won't be able to pick them up. But if we have at least reloaded once and we go over it, we're going to be able to pick it up. So let's start first with the fun stuff. We're going to keep the same cover positions we were keeping. We will use the same colliders and the same. We're actually not going to add anything into our cover positions. Okay, we have it the same as before, but of course keep in mind that our colliders cover only one position. So if I was running this way and hitting space, of course, then I wouldn't be able to hit this collider, so it wouldn't vault over because there is another collider that blocks this way. So keep that in mind when you're creating your own levels. But for this collider, I can actually hit it from every place I want. And this line over here is actually a new curve we're going to create. We're going to create two curves, one for vaulting, one for climbing, and they don't matter where we place them. Okay, they do not have to be around only the cover position, since we move them, since we only have one character, then we can move this curve alongside the road. Since anyway enemies do not move the same as we do, it's easier to do vaulting over there. Now, how the actual curve is moved or is done, you see I have it over here to make a slight jump, and that's actually because I think it looks better. It's entirely up to you or to your animator to actually make the recreation. What we're basically using with this curve for is to create the motion we will have if we had a root motion controller. Okay, so since our vaulting animation does not have, it has root motion, but I do not want to enable it because it has a lot more problems. We enable more problems if we enable root motion than what we want. Okay, we're going to use this curve to lerp our character on this path, so it will look that it vaults over a cover or an obstacle or anything else you might want. Okay, it's the same curve we used for the cover positions, even though I don't necessarily like the way it goes when it's a big curve. So it's better to have one position. It's better to keep few positions with this tool instead of using as far as cover positions are concerned. Vaulting the curve can have everything else you want. Now, what we need for this to actually to make it look like it's basically an animation, what we need to keep in mind is that if I go into my animator over here, I have my vault and my curve. So you'll see that the animation is it doesn't have any root motion, and that's what we actually need to think about. Now, these animations are from the raw mockup data. It's available on the asset store. It's free, and I'm going to include them in a link in the description below. Okay, even though it shows over here that it has root motion, we do not use root motion. We could try in the future some stuff with root motion, but currently I do not really want to, because, as I said, it enables more problems than it actually solves. Okay, even though it shows that it has root motion over here, we actually do not have anything. These are basically the settings, and since we are crossfading, we pretty much need to chop it a lot, as you can see over here, and how much you leave in after the jump, it's entirely up to you or your animator, or if you have better animations, this could have been a lot easier. So you could have instead of directly transitioning into the normal locomotion state, you can have another animation over here. This is for jumping, and this is the climb animation, and I'm going to show you what it was. I think there was one that he was rolling around. Can't find it now, but anyway. So let's continue. So the same with the climb animation, but the climb animation has one problem. Whatever we do with the root over here, with the Y, even though it shows that it follows the round, it's not that great. Okay, because you can see over here that his feet go escape the position of the root motion, or the root, if you will. Okay, and that's a problem. That makes your character look like he's floating, and it makes it hard to actually on our climb curve, which is exactly the same as this curve, but it's a bit like that. Okay, so this basically symbolizes, or however you call it, visualizes the path the character is going to take when climbing, or when playing that animation when you're climbing. Now, if the character is over here, okay, whatever you were going to do, he's going to look like he's floating. So when you create an animation, or if your animator creates the animation, you must always keep this line or the root underneath his feet. And whatever I do with the settings, this will not fix. So these animations are not the best. And even if I set it to center of mass would have worked, but you can see that it takes the center of mass to be at the ground, so it's not even usable. So that's basically the stuff you need to know about your vaulting, your animation for vaulting and for climbing. Now let's check out the coding side, which is pretty much simpler. Okay, we're going to do everything inside the state manager, but you probably should do that or keep them on player movement instead of the state manager. But since this is more of an example, not really ready for application yet, okay, we're going to do it into the state manager, and we're going to use some stuff we had on the player movement. So on the player movement, we had the function that searches for cover. Okay, it was looking forward, it was doing a recast forward whenever we were running or walking. It was looking forward, and it was looking if it hit a collider that has the component of current position. Now we're going to split it up a bit. We know the direction is going to be forward, of course, and the origin, what we saw, what we did. Okay, and we're doing a recast, and we want to check the distance, and we can say if the distance is lower than 1.5, and this if takes all the rest. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's not underneath a bracket, it takes that this line is a single line, so it takes it that this belongs to this if statement. So if we find a component that has a collider that has a component of cover position, and that collider is not on the list of ignore cover, okay, the same as we did before, we store the cover position, and we check if the distance is lower than 0.5, and we are not saying in our states that we're currently vaulting, which is this one. Okay, we add a few more variables: vaulting, climb. The public, we want them to be public because these are the ones we're going to use a lot. We're either vaulting or climbing. Okay, and we have current position and the initial vault if we have initialized the vault. Okay, these are the new variables we're going to use. So back to player movement, we check if the distance is lower than 0.5 and we're not vaulting, then do get in cover. Okay, ignore vaulting, then go and get in cover. Else, if we're pressing down the space key, and that's why, because I said we should do this, the input should be on the input handler, of course. Okay, which goes and enables a boolean on state manager that says you are vaulting, and the same as before. So if we are not already vaulting, start with climb false. If the cover type we have find is a cover type of full, then climb is true, and then call the new function we're going to see from the states, vault, and it takes a variable if we are climbing or not. Okay, so basically this is the way you find if you can vault or if you can climb. And you usually see, now depends a lot on the game what they are doing. If usually if there is not a cover in front but you want to vault, you have a small window, or they wait before you get into cover and then you press a key and he vaults over it, and so on. So let's move to the state manager. Let me remove this because we do not need it. Let's go to the state manager. We saw this. Let's open the bookmarks. we forgot some stuff, I think, on the player movement. Yeah, we forgot. We need to add a few more checks on some if statements we have. One of it is this. Okay, if we are not in cover and if we are not vaulting, only then do the movement, your normal movement. Otherwise, okay, do the rest. And if we are not in cover, the handle cover animation, we want it to be enabled when we are also not vaulting. And the last thing we need to do is to actually check if our collider is triggered or not. Okay, will be determined if the state says we are vaulting or not. And we do that because we have an open collider. We need to do something with it. Otherwise, we'll be passing, we'll be trying to pass a collider through inside the collider, and that can lead into a world of trouble. Okay, and I don't know what this is. I don't think it's anything. Oh yeah, on your handle movement normal. When we are also vaulting, we also want to have a zero friction material. And we have on the handle animations, I think, we also have I've added a new boolean, but I'm not really doing anything on the animator that says on ground, and that is controlled if we are vaulting. Then if we are not vaulting, then it's controlled but whatever a state manager does. Otherwise, it's, if the vaulting is true, then it just says it's true, so it doesn't mess with the variables on the animator, but we won't see anything with this. So I'm closing this state manager. Let's go to the state manager now, and let's see, not this. On the state manager, we're also going to add a reference to the weapon manager, and that is for the ammo we're going to see. So the new function we're going to add is this one. If we are vaulting, which takes one variable of climb, but it's already initialized, so if it's not climbed, we do not need to pass a variable. So if this boolean climb, which was somewhere, this one, if the above boolean says it's false, we initialize the above as false, and then we set whatever we pass from our player movement. And we have a Bezier curve, which curve we are going to use. If we are climbing, we are going to use the climb curve. If not, we are going to use the vault curve. If we're going to change the rotation and the position of our curve, okay, we're placing it now, but this does not have any corrective placement. So what I mean by this is I just hard coding it and taking the position of my controller. Okay, so that means if I look on like this, now even though this looked correct, there might be some cases that it's going to make him not look correct. Okay, this is basically just passing, just fixing a bit the rotation, and it's really nothing, so we're going to move forward, and then we play the desired animation. If we are climbing, we want to play the climb animation or the vault animation, and then we call on handle animation, we call an animator. If this isn't public, go and make it public into the handle animator, and then we use crossfade with the desired animation with a value we want to have. The curve, make sure the curve is closed, and by curve I mean this one. Okay, Otherwise you'll be spending a pretty much great amount of time thinking why your character is going back and forth. We reset the percentage and we say vaulting is true. So since vaulting is true, we have this function over here, which is also inside fixed update, which if it's vaulting, then basically uses the curve we want to use. We find the line length, we find the this is if you want to keep, not to keep, if you want to have some basically I'm using a curve in the animator to handle the speed modifier. So when it comes over here, it's going to slow down a bit and then continue and going back to the current speed it will always have. Okay, this is a cheap way to do it. It's not the best way, of course, but it will also help to not feel so mechanically to move around. Okay, and this is handled by the curve speed from the animation. Continuing on, we have the speed we are going to be lerping, and if we are climbing, it's going to be 4 multiplied by the speed modifier. Else, if we are vaulting, it's going to be 6. Our movement, we multiply our speed with our time dot delta time, and the actual lerp movement is calculated over here, and we say movement subdivided by line length, and we add that to the percentage. If the percentage is greater than 1, we have finished vaulting, so vaulting will be false, and then we have the target position. We use the curve, we use the function get point at, we use the percentage, and we apply that to our transform dot position. And that's pretty much it, how you handle vaulting and how you handle a form of climbing. Now it's mostly done. Okay, it depends a lot on the animations, and it depends a lot on it basically depends a lot more on the animations than anything else. And it's not the best type of climb. Okay, we were going to see some more on the future, but when I'm going to have some better animations. Okay, and we'll see more advanced stuff for climbing and that stuff later on. So do not forget to assign the vault curve and climb curve from the inspector, of course. Continuing on, let's see how to actually have pickable ammo and to make our weapons not have unlimited ammo. So if you remember, we have our pickable weapons. We added a weapon item script. We're going to add now a new item script, which is going to call ammo item. It's going to take from items base, and it will have a string of weapon ID and the integer how many ammo it will add. The same way we created these prefabs, we're going to create this one. We'll have an is_trigger collider and the script and the rigid body, and beneath it we'll have another collider that is not a trigger, so it doesn't fall through the ground. Item type will make it to ammo, and we'll have weapon ID, of course, and ammo amount. Now on our controller side, we need to go into item pickup behavior. I've changed this a bit, so let's see all of it together. the references we need to take. We assign from the crosshair manager, we take the text that says what writes beneath what item we are picking up or not. Okay, we assign all the rest, and we have split the two functions. We have check item type, which checks if we have an item to pick up and we haven't yet initialized it. We enable the UI text, and based on if it is a weapon or ammo or anything else which we do not have right now, it plays the correct function and initializes. Else, if we do not have an item and we have previously initialized an item, we close everything. So let's see this weapon item pickup. It assigns a weapon item pickup on our variable by using get component, of course. Searches for, yes, it assigns the target ID and writes the what you need to write, okay, to return your weapon. We saw that on the previous video. On the actual pickup, if you're pressing X, okay, it will play both of these functions, and since we are checking if we have something assigned or not, then only one will play anyways. The actual pickup is the same. So ammo item pickup, similarly to what we do with the weapon, but we store the weapon reference. Okay, we return weapon with ID, and if the ammo belongs to a weapon we have, and if that weapon hasn't reached the maximum capacity we can have, we say press X to pick up ammo 4 and we give the ID. Else we say that it has full ammo. If it does not belong to a weapon we have, then we say cannot pick up ammo 4. And the actual pickup, we take the target weapon, we find the target weapon, and if it didn't return null, if the carrying ammo is lower than the maximum ammo we can have, we assign the carrying ammo, and if the target weapon, if the carrying ammo is greater than the maximum ammo, we make the carrying ammo to be the same as the maximum ammo. So that means if we have we basically destroy the pickup if there are any more ammo. And then we get on the handle shooting. We should probably assign that into a reference on start or something. Okay, the carrying ammo will be the target weapon carrying ammo, and we destroy the item to pick up, and we make the both references null. Okay, simple enough. And we have to do a few changes on the weapon manager. On the weapon references, of course, we need to add a carrying ammo and the maximum ammo variables. And when we are switching weapons on both of these functions, both on switch weapon with target weapon and switch weapon, we need to add to change the handle shooting from carrying ammo to the new weapons carrying ammo. And yeah, for both cases where we switch weapon, one is here and one is over here. Let's close this. So with that in mind, we should go into handle shooting now. We need to add the carrying ammo variable, and we also need to do, when we are shooting, when we check if we have enough bullets. If we do not have enough bullets, if the gun is empty, and we need to add if our carrying ammo is greater than 0, then pretty much do what you were going to do. Okay, start playing the reload, but instead of directly applying the magazine bullets as we had it before, we need to make target bullets, and we say if our magazine bullets are lower than the carrying ammo we have, then the target bullets are whatever we have on the magazine, else our target bullets will be our carrying ammo. We remove from the carrying ammo our target bullets, and we go onto our stage manager, on our weapon manager, return a current weapon. From the weapon stats, the current bullets will be the new current bullets. And current bullets equals target bullets, and I think we have something wrong over here. So this will be on top of this. Okay, so we first assign the current bullets, and then we check for the bullets. Then we update the bullets. Else, if we do not have enough carrying ammo, or we do not have any carrying ammo, then play the empty gun effect. Let's check it. Let's hit play. We should probably okay. Magazine goes. I think I have 60, probably 3 magazines. And I'm out of bullets, so I cannot shoot anymore. And if I go over my ammo and picking it up, I can reload, and so on. So we'll end the video here. We did a lot of stuff. Okay, we have videos that we did a lot more stuff, but anyway. So don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also support me so that we can keep making cool stuff like this, and I'll see you next time.